Okay.
That's construction.
And then our budget meetings at 9 o'clock and 12. So tired of that. Budget, I don't know what to do. Okay, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good.
People in the audience speak, where should they stand so the audio can be picked up?
Just anywhere kind of closer to the table, the end of the table.
And then just project? Okay.
All up and running.
So how would we know if people are calling in on the phone number? If we don't?
At this point, there's no public comments. There's none at all. So none have been submitted through the chat or through email.
Okay,
So.
but if they don't have internet, Tessa, they just call in so they can listen, will we know? Or?
Well, not unless you log on. I'll know because I have it pulled up.
Okay,
So I'm gonna kind of monitor it.
and you
throughout.
didn't need the password, you just needed the telephone number, right, to listen?
No, you need the password. for this too. I text that to you. So maybe you can-
I'd like to call the May meeting of the Nashville Town Council to order. This is our regular meeting for May. Let us stand and have the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Father, we invite you into this meeting. We ask for your wisdom and your guidance to help us make the right decisions and the right choices for our great town and the citizens of Nashville. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, our first item of business is minutes. So let's look at February the 24th, the call meeting minutes. Did you see any corrections to those minutes? No correction?
Mayor, I move that if there are no corrections to any of these minutes, we go ahead and approve them all at once.
There are some.
There are some, okay, I'm sorry.
So is there a motion that we approve February the 24th minutes? Second. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. All those in favor, like, no. Okay, February the 26th, the agenda meeting minutes. Are there any corrections to those minutes? Any corrections? If not, do I hear a motion that we approve those minutes?
Move to be approved.
Do I hear a second? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, March 3rd, the regular minute meetings. Are there any corrections to these minutes? The March 3rd. If not, do I hear a motion for us to approve those minutes?
So made.
Do I hear a second? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Opposed? That carried too. March 23rd, the call meeting minutes. March 23rd, the call meeting minutes. Are there any corrections to those?
And on page 2 of those, when the issue of the fire station came up, I questioned the August 28th minutes when the fire station came to us at $1 million. And all of a sudden it had changed to 1.4, and that was not mentioned in the minutes. And that was on page 2 of those minutes. And that needs to be very transparent.
On the 23rd minutes.
Yes.
March 23rd,
The back of the page,
Page
did you
2.
say?
page
Okay.
2. at the top. There was a discussion about the fire station. And I have no problem with the fire station. It's just that when it came to us on the 28th of August, it was $1 million. And I have the August minutes here. And all of a sudden it's 1.4. And I want that to be in the minutes. It should have already been in there.
Are there any other corrections? If not, with that correction made, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as you read them?
I mean, second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. March the 30th, the call meeting minutes. March the 30th, the call meeting minutes. Any corrections to those? Not, do I have a motion to approve those?
Second.
All those in favor of approving those minutes, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. April the 7th, 2020, the call meeting minutes. Any corrections to those minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Go to page 10. The total in column 1, 2, 3, 4 should be $1,935,439.
What is it?
Fourth column at
Okay.
the bottom, budget comparison
Okay, got it.
background.
Fourth column,
It's not added correctly.
the difference column, oh, the original,
The difference, yes.
And what
The
should it
first
be?
one.
it should be what
It
now,
should be
Lee?
$1,935,439,
Instead of 1,835.
right.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any other corrections?
On page 21. Okay, at the top, proposed capital reserve activity, general fund. That correction was made. But anyway, the 890, that doesn't add up. If you added it up, it should be 705,138. So I think the original number, right, Sam, should be 972,688, I think.
Beginning balance?
Mhm.
Which one, Louise?
At the top.
Which,
If you
Of
add those,
21.
if you do
page 21? Okay.
if you do the math on those columns, the far right column projected balance should be 705,138.
Right, 'cause I caught that, we did. I got it somewhere. Yeah, it's in the budget book. You're right. Didn't add up.
Are there any other corrections for those minutes?
Would it be approved? That's correct.
Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes after they're as corrected, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we have no public input, is that correct tonight?
That is correct, Mayor.
Okay, now we're going to have a presentation from the Waste Industries Curbside Recycling Collection and Disposal Fees by Pat Luce.
Loose, but I'll answer to a lot of things.
I would want you to answer to the correct name. Hey, I was a principal, so I had to guess and then make it correct. Of Waste Industries, GLF. Thank you so much for being here with us.
My pleasure. My understanding was that you guys wanted a little summary of what's going on with the recycling and of course how it's affected y'all and the pricing. So I'll just start with, and I think most of you guys know that the recycling market is in a pretty much a state of flux. It started about 3 years ago with China, and they stopped taking our recyclables over there, which caused a big glut in our market, and there just hasn't been any market. So the prices for recycling processing has skyrocketed. And really when that started, when we started our contract with you guys in 2010, we were still using Sunoco. Sunoco is our outlet for recycling processing. And there was no fee for us to take your single stream recycling to Sunoco. So when we bid on the contract originally, we bid on it with a worst case scenario of $0 for processing. So back in September 1st of 2018, Sunoco began charging us $50 a ton to process the materials, your single stream. We absorbed that cost for 6 months. We didn't pass anything on. We then implemented a price increase of 60 cents per unit effective 3/1/19. By June of 19, they raised our rate to $75 a ton. But again, that was a cost we absorbed, and that was kind of what we had said we would when we gave you the increase we'd honor that price for 1 year. So we absorbed that cost and didn't pass it on at all. And then July 1st of 2020, which is coming up, Sunoco is going to be charging us $105 a ton. So we are going to have to put in another increase for the processing per cart, and that's going to be an additional 66 cents. And then I also supplied you all with some numbers on the cost of the contract. So when we first started doing the service for the town in 2010, the price per unit was $3.43. So fast forward to 2020, it went up to $4. So over a 10-year period, really all we had was a 57-cent increase. And those were based on the CPIs that we get annually. I think the highest CPI we had was in 2012, which was 2.9%. We had some at 1%, and so on. So you're looking at $4 until 2019. And then on March 1st of 2019, we added that 60 cents. Okay, so that on March 1st, 2019, your total was $4.60. And then moving into 2020, we have scheduled July 1st for the increase because it's at $105 a ton for the processing. And then there's a CPI of 2.3%, which will go into effect 7/1/20 as well. That's our annual CPI. So you're looking at $4.60 plus the CPI, which is 32 cents, which would take it to $4.92 plus the 66 cents, which would give it to $5.58. That's what it would be as of July 1st, 2020. The other point I did want to make on this, there's no markup on this processing fee. It's a straight pass through. That $105 with Sunoco is their gate rate. So this isn't anything we're looking to make money on. We're just trying to cover our disposal costs on it.
Pat, how much did you say that would be per month?
$5.50. Yeah, it'd be $5.58 as of 7/1/20.
Thought it was going to be 526.
Question. Now, Pat, the
Yes.
2.3%, is that above the $4? Is that charged to the $4 or is that charged to the?
It's charged to the it's charged to the $4. So
Okay, so I think.
$4 times. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So the $4 plus the 2.3 would be the $4.09 plus the $1.26. So it should be actually $5.35.
No, I could have done the math wrong. Let me
That's it.
Got the numbers all over the place.
hold on just a
Oh,
second.
first.
Let me get a little light here.
No, it's not.
4.60.
Well, with the 66 increase over what I forgot to put in the CPI.
Which
It
is
was-
32 cents.
And that makes a big
It's
difference.
an additional 9 cents.
Well, the total's $5.58.
35
I believe it's 5.35.
Oh, what you're saying, okay, but he was saying 5.58.
We need a specific number. We need to know what it is. It's all over the place. Is it 526 or 558?
Or
535.
Is it gonna be charged on top of the $4 or on top of?
No. The CPI only goes onto the $4 rate, okay?
Okay. All
So
right.
we were at, in 2019, we were at $4.60 total. Okay, that included the processing, but we only do the CPI, which is gonna be 2.3% on the $4. So 4.00 times 2.3% plus 4.00 is 409, right? So that's 409 plus the additional 66 cents. Is $4.75. No, that's incorrect. Because we got to add in the 60 cents that, I apologize. You got to add in the 60 cents from the previous one. So we're looking at 535.
Yeah.
Did you guys come up with the same numbers?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
535 is what we had 526 to start with.
Excuse me, sir?
I said we had 526 to begin with, but 535, I think we agree that that's what
Yeah,
it comes out to, the mayor.
Okay, just want to make sure we all had the same numbers.
Pat, let me ask a question. At what point, if China keeps raising, Sunoco keeps raising prices, and you passing on down this, at what point does it get where it doesn't benefit either one of us?
We're there.
Well, we are only at $1.92 increase in over 10 years since we started this.
Yeah.
I don't know that we can say that we're there.
To answer your question, I think the contract has been very fair to both parties so far in terms of the pricing, especially with the minimal increase over a 10-year period. But to answer your question, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to be happening in the future. We've looking at this over 2 years. We don't look at this going backwards, in the next 2 years as far as the processing. The hope is that when we get enough infrastructure in the United States as far as processing plants and being able to convert some of this stuff back, that the market will adjust as far as being able to use the recyclables in the United States, and then the processing fee goes down or away. So if that does happen, of course, and that's why we do it as a line item, and not just lump it all together. We can adjust that as it goes down. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't anticipate that happening in the next 2 years. But if it were to happen, of course, we can adjust down on an annual basis, just like we look at it going up on an annual basis. So the answer really lays in your shoes in terms of what makes the most sense to you economically for the town. I mean, there are places in the country that have, suspended recycling because of the costs. I don't have many markets, and I handle from Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina, and Delaware. My recycling processing fees cost more than what it costs for me to dispose of MSW trash. We hope this is a temporary blip in the scheme of things, but I don't know. We're getting to that point though with people, and heck, we understand it, where there's an intersection between ideology, which is doing the right thing as far as recycling, and then how it affects bottom line. And ultimately, you guys are going to be the one that's going to have to make the call on that.
Okay, thank you.
Pat, I have a question.
Yes,
What percentage of our recyclables actually go to the tipping station?
yeah, generally, there's always some contamination in recyclables, and we're seeing at about 18 to 20% contamination. And I can try to get you some more accurate numbers on that if I can, but that's generally what we're seeing on that.
Last year, we went up 77 cents on recyclables. That was 17% increase. If we
Yeah.
go up to, if we go up to 5.35 this year, that's an additional 16% increase.
Yeah, and again, the big driver on that has been the line item on the processing fee. So, yeah, in 2 years, so we had 60 cents in 2019 and 66 cents, which will be in July 1st. So yeah, you're looking at $1.26 just in processing fees. The actual picking up of the recyclables and us taking it away has been minimal. Like I said, over 10 years, that's only gone up 57 cents.
Any other questions for Pat?
Is there a 10-cent fuel surcharge?
There is a fuel surcharge in the contract if the diesel rate is $3 or above, and I don't have that rate in front of me.
I would say there are some other like flat administrative fees that are associated with the $75 per month.
Pat, your name has changed to GFL Environmental.
Yes, our entity has stayed the same. All of our contracts, our past contracts and our current contracts are still Waste Industries of North Carolina LLC. But now on anything new, we're Waste Industries LLC, DBA, GFL Environmental. So yeah, we as a lot of you guys know, we merged with a Canadian company that their only footprint in the United States was up in Michigan. So it was a good blend for us. But yeah, all our contracts and entities have stayed the same as far as Waste Industries. Our branding is what is changing. You might have seen some of our bright green trucks in your neighborhoods.
So did you merge with Waste Industries or did you buy out Waste Industries?
Well, no, Waste Industries merged with GFL. So GFL went public. Yes, it was about almost a month ago. So we're now a publicly traded company. We had been private before that, a privately held company.
Any other questions for Pat? If not, we thank you so very much for enlightening us on the whole what's going on. We appreciate it very much, Pat.
Sure. And listen, if you guys, I know a lot of times, you absorb everything and then you're like, geez, I wish I had asked this question. Please don't hesitate to either email me or pick up the phone or whatever you need in terms of any more additional information. Okay.
Thank you so
Thank you
much
very
for
much.
leaving that
Okay.
opening. for
You guys
us
have a
here.
great evening.
You
You
also, thank you. Okay, council, are there any discussion about that? On number 6, the presentation he just gave us.
So once again, we changed 5.26 to 5.35.
5.35.
I don't think there's any need to vote on that because we don't have an
It
option.
is what it is.
It is, that's exactly right. Okay, let's move on to our old business. 7A is what it is in our books. And this issue is leasing the 108 South Body Street properties for our Nashville Parks, Recreation and Cultural Resources Department. And I'm just going to read the summary here. Adam Williams owns a commercial building at 108 South Body Street that will work well for the Nashville Parks, Recreation and Cultural Resources Department. The one-story building is 3,420 square feet in size, 38 feet by 90 feet. Has a new roof, new heating and air system, new electrical, new plumbing, and a new roof, ceiling, walls, and floor coverings. Mr. Williams is willing to upfit the building to the town's needs by installing a men's and women's ADA restroom, a drinking fountain, an office, a small workroom, a storage room, and a large 36-foot by 58-foot open space area for indoor programming. If the town pays $9,000 to upfit the building, he will rent the building for $1,500 a month with a 1-year lease, or $1,200 a month for a 2-year lease. If Mr. Williams pays the $9,000 upfit cost, the rent will be $2,200 a month for a 2-year lease. If Mr. Williams pays the $9,000 upfront, the $2,000 for a 1-year lease, or $2,000 a month for a 2-year lease, $2,200 for 1, $2,000 for 2. $9,000 is readily available in the funds from the 2019-2020 Park and Rec budget, as almost none of its remaining $150,000 budget will be spent. Because the upfit cost is greater than $5,000, a budget amendment will be needed. The upfitting will take 1 month. The building will need to be reclassified by Nash County Building and Inspections from mercantile to assembly, and Williams will take care of this. Because the capacity of the 36-foot by 58 feet open assembly room is less than 2,088 square feet, is less than 300 people, 298 at 7 square feet per person. A fire sprinkler system and fire monitoring system is not required. Do you have anything to say about this, Randy?
Well, I can add that, I've talked with Adam Williams several times about this property, and, he would prefer to lease to the town for reasons that he wouldn't have to worry about his payments every month. Wouldn't have to worry about having a tenant destroy the place, so to speak. There are other things that I need to talk to him about if you are interested in moving forward with this. If you've driven by the building, the facade could use some TLC. Paint it, that awning on there, power wash, and maybe that painted too. And, Adam is willing to do things like that for us.
You know what bothers me? I walk, by there every morning, is the buildings on either side of it. To me, it's frightening to think that a child could sneak away or wander away and get into one of those buildings, because they don't look all that stable to me. And I just wondered, is it safe for our children was my main concern, the safety of the children. But anyway, the council, do you have any input?
I'd like to see the town move forward on this. I believe that we need the space. We need to, as soon as we can, look about getting a new recreation director on board, because this is a program that's going to be vital to the town going forward in order for us to attract and keep people in the town limits. As far as the $9,000, you're going to pay it either up front or over the course of the lease, with the increased price that he's quoting for him doing the upfitting costs. So in fact, it might be a little bit cheaper actually if we paid the $9,000 up front than to wait and let him prorate it out basically over the course of the 12 or 24 months, whichever way we decided to go.
Any other comments?
My concern is with the economy, the way it is. I'm not sure we need to go forward with this at this time. We need to see daylight with the economy. revenue coming in? Because right now we have no idea.
But we do know that we want to keep a Park and Recs department. We do know that we want to attract young families and keep young families here. We do have this in the budget right now. It's not like we're, looking forward to taking money from somewhere else to spend. It's included in the budget that we have for Parks and Rec for the upcoming budget. We're not looking to expend any more. I think in order to get a director on board, we need to have office space and programming space. And like you, I'm looking at the two side buildings. I think that this will breathe life into that area. I'm hoping that that will be the start of something great for that area. And I'm not worried about a child getting away. I think we'd have bigger problems than just what's next door if we're letting our kids out of our sight. But I think that it's going to breathe life into that area. I do. And I agree with what Lynn had said. And the price is right. This is the best priced, and the location is nice as far as it being downtown, easily walkable. I'd like to see us move forward with this.
Any other comment?
Right now, our budget is 2 million over last year's budget. 2 million over last year's budget, and we have no idea about revenues, about tax revenues, sales tax or property tax or any other tax. We know it's going to be down. So I'm just wondering if this is something we can hold off on until we see daylight financially.
But that's like saying we don't reopen the library and we start laying people off because we don't know what's going to
The
happen in the next
library is
couple of
already
months.
open.
We need a Park and Recs department. We need that.
I'm not saying we don't need it. It's just that it's something that we don't have to do right now until we know about our revenues.
So are you saying that we hold off on getting rec director until we know what our revenues look like? How are we going to sustain a Parks and Rec department without a director?
Well, it's not that we wouldn't get one at some time, but I'm just saying right now.
When is the time?
When we have a better idea about our revenue coming into this town.
We already have this within this current budget, and we have it placed in our next current budget. What is your idea of, are we putting that money back into fund balance? Like what is the plan here if we don't move forward with getting a director?
I don't know that 6 months would make a big difference until we
It makes
know
a huge difference. That's 6 months of things that we're not doing for the town. It's 6 months that we're not out there engaging with the community. It's 6 months of not having people come together. That's a long time.
Well, and we don't want to make promises financially that we can't keep.
That's the case with every single one of our departments.
Absolutely.
So how is this any different? We're going to keep running those departments on a promise.
There's some things we have to have. We have to have fire, we have to have police, we have to have water and sewer. Everything else is, all we have to do is look at what's going on in the economy. We have no idea. This is unprecedented.
My concern will be losing this property. We know how hard it was to locate a property that was going to be the right size. This is going to be outfitted to suit the town of Nashville. And I don't think we'll find others necessarily, particularly at this price.
Definitely not.
So I'm in favor of moving forward.
Well, I guess everybody else said their part. I'll speak my part. As everybody knows, I wasn't wholeheartedly in with getting rid of our parts of it to begin with. But what I did say at the meeting that if it did pass to go over to the county, that I would support it 100%. And I still have that. And I do understand where if we don't have a place to put a Parks and Rec director into, it's gonna probably be hard to recruit anybody to come. If we instructed Randy to go ahead and advertise tomorrow to get a Parks and Rec director in here, it's probably gonna be another two or 3 months before he even hits the door. So that's way on down the line. But if we wait, and the other flip to this, if we wait until we get him in here, what we're gonna do, we're gonna show him a bill and say, well, if we get you, we're gonna try to put you in here. And if we wait 6 months down the road, I have to agree with Lynn and her that this building may not be available to us anymore. And if we do it for a 2 year, the way my calculations are, maybe my fuzzy math, we may say $600, but it's already budgeted. So I guess I'll get off my thumb and go in favor of it.
And so are any other discussion? If not all those in favor of us leasing the 108 South Body Street for the Nash Parks Recreation and Culture Resource Department, let it be known by saying aye.
Okay, but
We have we need a motion.
Well, I was gonna do that next. Which way do you want to, you want to put that in this? Do you want to pay for it? I mean, lease it, pay up front the 9,000? What do you think? Lynn, did you say we'd come out cheaper that way?
Yes.
About $600.
Well,
And
I would suggest we do the way we come out the cheapest.
I make a motion that we approve a 2-year lease at $1,200 a month and that the town pay the $9,000 to upfit. According to my calculations, by us doing that, over 2 years, we'll pay a total of $37,800 versus $48,000.
And that 115,000 would cover all this.
Yes,
Yes.
it's already in the budget that's been proposed.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
All right.
What?
Did we get a
Did
second?
we get a second? I thought we did, but we didn't. Is
Second.
there a second? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Those opposed?
No,
Okay. 3 ayes and 1 opposition. Let's go to our next.
Mayor, there's a budget amendment for the $9,000 under this agenda item. Ask the
Okay.
council for action on that.
Is that in it, this one?
Yes, it's at the end of it.
It's the last page of 7A.
I move
Okay.
to approve.
I hear a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Sorry, second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Opposed?
no.
Okay, let's go on to our next item, which is
Tomorrow.
Question, Randy, on this item we just approved, is he gonna get started on this like tomorrow,
Probably not tomorrow, but hopefully next week.
next week?
So he thinks 30 days to get it.
Well, he said 30 days.
Okay.
Because all the other stuff has already been done with the walls and the HVAC and all this stuff has already been done, right?
The electrical, the new electrical, the HVAC is in there. It's the framing of the storage room, the office, the small workroom, and the second bathroom. He's got 1 bathroom in there already.
Okay, the interior frame under the walls.
Right.
And
Has
clean up,
anybody in the council been in the building?
clean up.
I don't believe anybody,
Mhm.
have any of you been in the building?
Well, before this point, I was scared to go in.
We've seen pictures.
I peered through the windows. I have
I've looked
artery.
at the windows. Yeah,
I've looked inside.
I've looked at
I've
the
been
windows.
inside.
It's coming about.
our next old business is 7D, and it's the resolution 2020-7, the resolution of support and application to the North Carolina Rural Infrastructure Authority's Building Reuse Program for Astera Labs. So you see the summary there. The North Carolina Department of Commerce administers the North Carolina Rural Infrastructure Authority's Building Reuse Program to aid local units of government in economic development and the creation of jobs for their communities. Astera Labs LLC is a startup pharmaceutical company planning to be located in the Shell Building in the Nashville Commerce Park at 800 Cook Road, where it will manufacture dietary supplements. Astera will create 25 high-paying jobs and invest $1,819,185 in its startup. The company and the Carolina Gateway Partnership have asked the town of Nashville to submit a $250,000 building reuse grant application prepared by the partnership to the North Carolina Rural Infrastructure Authority to help cover the cost of upfitting the building for Astera Labs use. Gateway Partnership is covering the 12,500 local match required by the program. And then if you see the note there, and I'm going to let you take over there.
Well, thank you all. My name is Brad Hufford. I'm with the Carolinas Gateway Partnership. Very excited to be before you today to talk about this exciting economic development project that has selected Nashville and the West Nashville Commerce Park for their investment. And that's really where this story began, was investment by the town council in previous years to purchase the land and to add the infrastructure and to have the foresight to grow the economy of Nashville by making these investments. Also, the investments and partnership with Lee Balance, the developer of that park, to put in a shell building. And that's kind of when my story takes, and your continued support of the Carolinas Gateway Partnership. Our story for this particular project started in December when Joe Cascone and his partners in a new startup venture were looking for a location for their next investment. And they wanted to stay in the region. They knew the area. They wanted to tap their network and resources in the Eastern North Carolina. And they found a building that the Carolinas Gateway Partnership had been marketing on our site and building database. And it fit all of their parameters, and the town looked very attractive to them, and it fit in with their location that they were looking for. So they contacted the Carolinas Gateway Partnership, and that's when the ball started rolling for us. Joe, and who I'll introduce just shortly, he partnered with Lee Balance to look at the upfit costs and the renovations that would be required for their company to move into that building. As you all know, that was a shell building that was just basic concrete floor, walls, and a roof and a plan. And so once those costs were calculated, then I got involved in as far as adding some last mile infrastructure to the site. Duke Power provided 3-phase power and extension to that park. Also Suddenlink, we determined that there was not adequate fiber lines to serve the telecommunication needs of the company. So we've partnered with a cost sharing with the town of Nashville, Nash County, and the Carolinas Gateway Partnership to shoulder some of those upfront construction costs. For the upfit of the building, Carolinas Gateway Partnership, we applied to the North Carolina Department of Commerce Rural Infrastructure Authority on behalf of the company. Whenever they're creating jobs and investment, there are pots of money that we're able to tap into to help support those efforts from the state. And on April 16th, the Rural Infrastructure Authority awarded the town of Nashville $250,000 to be used for upfit of the building, and that's through the building reuse program. And as you mentioned, there's a 5% local match, which the Carolinas Gateway Partnership will be providing in the amount of $12,500. David Hardigan is our grant management consultant. He could not be with us today, but you'll be working with him hand in hand. He will be providing the grant application, which he's already done, and the administration. So that'll take a lot of the burden off of the local town. Tonight, we're asking for the passage of the local government resolution, and we'll get a signed application by the chief elected official. We'll have that. But really what I want to do tonight is just introduce Joe Cascone with Astera Labs. He's the co-founder and president, and he'll tell you a little bit more about the company and what they hope to do here. And just want to again, thank you for your support and your consideration of the resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hi, Mayor Brown and the town council. It's a real pleasure to be here. Joe Cascone. Very excited to be, a tenant, but hopefully a lot more than that, a member of the community, and I'm looking very much forward to initiation of our operations, which we project to be in the July timeframe. So Astera Labs was founded really late last year and sought funding. We have a private equity partner in Rise Capital who was able to negotiate funds to initiate what we're doing here. So the first 6 months of this year are very critical because if you drive by the property now, you'll see a lot of activity where we're getting our facilities in order. And basically, about 60% of the interior of the building we're fitting out right away, office space, and then a suite of rooms that are what's called GMP compliant. So my background is exclusively in the pharmaceutical industry, and we're used to manufacturing in very, very clean environments with a lot of controls. And so we're installing those right now. But we're not going to be making pharmaceuticals in the building. My background is formulation development. So I basically come up with formulas, figuring out, particularly in the area of drug delivery, which is I can kind of design a tablet or a capsule or a dosage form to kind of release at a certain rate inside the human body. And where we see an opportunity is an intersection of pharmaceutical technology, which is my background, but applying that technology to more dietary supplemental alternative and wellness type products that are not drugs per se, so you'll see an FDA disclaimer, but there's a lot of opportunities for intellectual property, patent possibilities when you're kind of crossbreeding these two industries. And that's what got our investors excited, and that's what we're excited about. So right now we've assembled our leadership team, all pharmaceutical background. That includes quality assurance, sales, and operations, and R&D people. And then, of course, the next people we're going to hire are going to be production workers and QA auditors. And so that will kind of round out our team here in the summertime. So we intend on, right now we're building our website, standing up our marketing and sales and the commercial side of the business, as well as the operational side. And so again, very excited, very happy to have been working with the team. I am, my family that's still in New York say I have a Southern accent now. I don't know if I do, you can tell me, but I've been in North Carolina since 1999. I started in Greenville at a time where there's a small company there called Metrics Incorporated, founded by a gentleman named Phil Hodges from Beargrass. Started out there when it was a very small company, and we grew that quite substantially. Had since moved to Wake Forest and had been with Maine Pharma when they acquired Metrics for several years, and then kind of around the middle of last year got kind of an entrepreneurial itch to go out on my own. And as Brad said, very, very much happy and grateful to be able to tap into all of our networks out here in Eastern North Carolina, whether it be Rocky Mount, Greenville, Wilson, or even the Triangle, to draw upon talent and resources. It's a perfect place for us, with the life science cluster here in Eastern North Carolina and in the Triangle area. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm also happy to give you guys my card, and when we finally get closer to a little bit of a ribbon cutting and you don't have to get dirt and mud on your shoes, we'd love to have you out and show you around. It'd be our pleasure, and we look forward to kind of getting better acquainted with all of you over the coming years.
Out of the 25 jobs that this your company's going to hire, do you have any idea how many people are going to be out of the Nashville residents?
20 out of 25.
20 out of 25 is what you're shooting for. Okay.
And that would be a combination of production and production support. That could be maintenance. That could be quality assurance auditors, and then the difference would probably be like salespeople that don't necessarily have to be in the
Average salary?
But for when you average it all together, it goes up. But I'd say, our operator would be in that $20 to $25 an hour range. And then the more quality and admin roles would be more around that 60 to 70,000. But if you include senior management, it goes up substantially.
We're excited to have you here. Welcome.
Thanks.
We're so glad to have you here, absolutely.
Well, we're happy to be here.
And we pledge to serve and make you proud that you chose Nashville.
It's good to hear. It's good to hear. And again, I don't really believe in transactional relationships. Much prefer partnerships, and hope we can do the same thing.
When do you intend to start advertising for these positions?
Advertising for the positions, probably June, because we want to be making product in July. And again, because we're so well known in the pharmaceutical industry, myself and my co-founder and our leadership team, we'll be looking, advertising and tapping our own networks, because we want to make sure we have the right talent, there at the outset.
Thank you so kindly.
And thank you.
I'm glad we got to meet you.
Yeah,
I know you're a real person.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, as you can see, this had to take place, but we still have to vote on this. So do I have a motion that we approve this resolution?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Great. All right, let's go to number 7C. And that is approximating $35,000 to Suddenlink to extend a fiber optic telecommunication line to West Nashville Commerce Park. And I'll just skim through the summary here. And then the town's West Nashville Commerce Park on Cook Road does not have high-speed internet service. Astera Labs LLC is locating its startup pharmaceutical company in the shell building at the park, and high-speed internet is needed right away. Carolina Gateway Partnership reached out to both CenturyLink and Suddenlink on behalf of the town and requested proposals to serve the park with a high-speed internet. After taking into consideration the monthly revenue from Astera Labs, Suddenlink responded with a better proposal than CenturyLink. Suddenlink will extend a fiber optic line to the park for a $35,000 proposal contribution to aid in construction. The Carolina Gateway Partnership will contribute $10,000 to this cost. Andy Nagy, Nash County Economic Development Director, says Nash County will contribute $10,000. The balance is $15,000, which will come from the town's economic development contingency line item, which is listed below, and which has $20,000 in it. Nash County and Carolina Gateway Partnership will both send their $10,000 contributions to the town. If approved, the town will put the $20,000 contribution from the county and the partnership with its $15,000 and pay Suddenlink upon completion of the project and receipt of the bill. Do you have any comments, Randy, about this?
No, I think the agenda report pretty much summarized it. You know, again, we've been marketing that park for years with all infrastructure, and we found out we don't have all infrastructure. Lynn, did you have a question on the contingency?
The only thing on the budget amendment is just the practice when I was working was that we didn't necessarily expend from contingency line items. I don't have a problem with the budget amendment with the exception of maybe us having that money in an expenditure line rather than the contingency line, but.
Oh, so the auditors don't.
Right. They potentially could say
Say that
something.
again, Lynn.
That looked funny to me too.
Contingency line item
You don't-
is sort of like a holding department or bucket for
Right.
monies. It's not a specific expenditure. So if you're wanting to spend this money for a specific expenditure, my suggestion would be just to move it to a line item that would indicate what the money would be.
And
Not just
Sam, we
take it
can do
out.
that without any trouble, can't we?
Just move one and create another one, move to.
Right,
The
only
important thing
thing
is that the money's there
Right.
to pay for it.
yes.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we allow this amount of money so that we can get the telecommunications that they need out there so that they can get started?
So made.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. So we're ready to get you going. Okay. Do I need to read that? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
We're supposed to do all of them. Okay.
Okay, the resolution authorizing a $35,000 contribution to Suddenlink to aid in the construction of a fiber optic telecommunication line to the West Nashville Commerce Park. It says, whereas the town of Nashville has developed the West Nashville Commerce Park on Cook Road in the town of Nashville, and whereas the lots in the park have all of the necessary utilities and infrastructure to support commercial and light industrial businesses with the exception of telecommunications. And whereas Suddenlink, Altus USA, a telecommunications company serving Nashville, has given the town a proposal to extend and provide the park with telecommunications services by a fiber optic line in exchange for an upfront $35,000 contribution to aid in construction. And whereas the Nashville Town Council has determined that expending $35,000 for a fiber optic telecommunication line to provide the West Nashville Commerce Park with telecommunication services is in the best interest of the town of Nashville. Now therefore it be resolved by the town council of the town of Nashville, North Carolina, that $35,000 is hereby authorized as a contribution to Southern Links how do you pronounce it? Is it Atlas USA?
Maltese.
Altis, I've heard it both ways, Atlas and Altis, to aid in construction of a fiber optic telecommunications line to the West Nashville Commerce Park on Cook Road in the town of Nashville, passed and approved this 5th day of May, 2020.
That is misspelled. It should be ALTICE.
Well, I was thinking it was, I was
It's-
thinking,
it's misspelled.
okay, good, because I was
Oh,
thinking,
okay.
And also, oh, sorry,
go
I
ahead.
didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to change one thing. Instead of a contribution, I just wanted to change it to the contribution.
Any other corrections? Do we vote on this or have we already voted?
We already voted.
That's what I thought. I just don't want to forget to vote.
That's it. Do we need the budget amendment number 25 too then?
That's what I thought they voted on.
Okay.
I have a question about the budget amendment. Is it okay to ask? And,
Where are you, Louise?
okay, the budget amendment itself.
At just before 8A.
Okay, the fund balance appropriation. Okay, we're taking 5,000 out of fund balance appropriation.
Basically, I was reducing the appropriation by
Okay,
5,000 to balance the budget. But I can amend this budget and change it. It's not, it's actually reducing the amount of fund balance that we're gonna have.
okay. I thought that amount was already appropriated for something else.
So we don't have to appropriate that 5,000.
The fund balance appropriation line is what's used in balancing your budget with your revenues and expenditures.
Right.
And what she's saying is because of the way the monies are falling out, it's going to be 5,000 less that will be needed for fund balance appropriated. So she's going ahead and reducing it.
So that 588, 669 was not used.
Correct. That's just what we're using to balance the budget. That's not how much.
And the way I looked at it, there was about 120,000 that wasn't used. I mean, out of,
Yeah,
so that's kind of like a slush fund. I mean, a go-to fund.
Well, when you're budgeting for local governments, you always estimate your revenues conservatively and then your expenditures, which are, so your revenues typically come in higher than what you budgeted and your expenditures come in lower. And the way you make the budget balance is using this fund balance appropriated line item. But the intent is always to not use it unless the council makes a specific decision to do so.
But it always looks like you have dipped into the,
Right, until the end of the year,
all right.
and then we haven't dipped, right?
So here we're,
So we've not been told we can't use the word slush.
That's
so let me tell you, you know what? That's exactly what it is.
All right,
Okay.
let's move on to new business, AA. And this is some things that have come about because of the situation that we're in now. So the issue considered here is resolution to amend the personnel policy for the Families First Coronavirus Response Act provision. And I'm just going to read this, the summary of the issue because the resolution is very long, and I think you've read that, all of you've read that. On March 18, 2020, Congress passed and the president signed into law the Coronavirus Response Act, also known as the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. This act has two provisions. First, paid sick leave for all employees for 2 weeks, up to 80 hours for one of 6 designated COVID-19 related reasons. And second, paid emergency family and medical leave for all employees for up to 12 weeks for designated COVID-19 related reasons relating to childcare. Under the act, emergency responders may be excluded from the provision due to the nature of these types of jobs. Also under the act, the town may allow employees to supplement the 2/3 of paid leave under reasons number 4 through 6 of paid sick leave and for the emergency family and medical leave with accrued leave. These provisions are in effect from April 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020. And the town of Nashville's personnel policy must be amended to include the provisions of the act. So what we're doing is voting as a council to approve this, the act that has been passed for our employees.
When I was doing some researching on this, I went to the School of Government site. And what I'm reading based on what Diane Juffers there stated is that the emergency FMLA leave is available only for as long as a federal, state, or local COVID-19 state of emergency is in effect, and in any event only through December 31st, 2020. So I wonder if we need that additional wording in there just to, in other words, if the
Probably so.
I think
because
state of
at the end
emergency
the day,
ends sooner.
absolutely.
then
So did they
this ends sooner.
come out with a second version though? Because when I was reading through the actual document, it said things like that, but it didn't make it expressly clear. Every time they did any summary, they said effective until the end of December. And so if you dig deep into it, it seems like it's the earlier of when the state of emergency is lifted or December 31st. But all of them, when they were doing summaries of it, stated effective until. So do you have any insight on that or?
I don't, but we can certainly add that to the
I mean,
policy.
it doesn't hurt anything to say the earlier of.
Now, my
Um,
question is, God forbid, it just goes beyond December 31st.
Well, you
It
need
will be
both.
extended
Yeah,
then.
you need
Right,
We've had to come
kind of the
back
way
in
that
here.
was worded.
Well, the Congress would have to extend the act.
right.
And it would be applicable to employers such as the town of Nashville.
William, that's a good point.
Right now, it's scheduled
Very
to
good point.
sunset at the end of the year,
Mhm.
or as Lynn pointed out, whenever the
Until it's
emergency is
lifted.
lifted.
Right.
Whichever comes first.
No, I think it does say, that school has to be not in session any longer. So, once schools go back in session in August, September, that would make it inapplicable anyway, but we should have something
That
in there.
probably needs to be added. I would agree with Lynn on that. So,
We can amend it, yeah. Add that
okay, so
language to it.
would you like to vote on it,
Subject to the.
subject to the amendment that you requested as council? Okay, all those in favor of approving this according to the amendment, let it be known by saying aye.
All right.
All those opposed? Oh, I need a motion. I do. Keep me straight.
I move to approve, Madam.
Okay,
I'll
second. Okay, all those in favor?
All right.
Okay, thanks. So we've taken care of that. Now let's go to 8B, which is another one that's due to our coronavirus. And this is the resolution to amend the personnel policy to add the paid administrative leave and telework policy. On March 16th, 2020, in response to the COVID-19 outbreak, the town of Nashville, in conjunction with Nash County, declared a state of emergency for Nashville. In order to safely continue operations following CDC social distancing guidance, it became necessary to implement a paid administrative leave and telework policy for town staff. This policy categorizes positions based on the current needs of the town and allows management to determine if and when telework or paid administrative leave is available. And you saw the resolution that was there.
And also until when? I mean, when the state of emergency is lifted?
This one, the other one was specifically for the FMLA, so I don't know that the wording was the same for this
I think this is just at the town manager's discretion.
discretion. And don't we have an
Yeah, it's-
updated version
some-
that you gave out, Randy?
Yes. It was suggested a few changes prior to the meeting. So we had passed around a revised one. And basically what that does is take the hierarchy up a notch. So we've taken out supervisors and put in department heads and the town manager. And those changes, you can follow along in the revised document or highlight it where that has taken place.
Also, instead of respond to a phone call, I just wanted it to be communications, whether that comes email, text, phone. And then checking email periodically each day instead of once per day.
Mhm.
Any other corrections to this resolution? If not, do I hear a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved. Second.
Second. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Like saying no. So this will be approved. Now let's go to our next item, which is 8C, electronic devices and services acceptable use policy. And that, I hope you will, I know you've read, but it's in detail, and we've got a sort of a update tonight, didn't we? Yeah, okay, good, thanks for the update. We'll get that all right. All right, it reads as following. The town of Nashville electronic devices and services acceptable use policy establishes guidelines and procedures for town employees to utilize town devices and services. The policy also defines what is accepted when employees access the town's network or the internet from a town issued or personal device. The policy is intended to ensure safe practices and appropriate behaviors when using town devices and services. Doing so protects the town's network, electronic devices, and services. And Randy, did you need to add anything?
Yeah, we had some suggested changes to this again prior to the council meeting. Thanks to your guys' review of it when you're going through your packets. And Tessa has put those changes into the policy, I believe. And it was placed on your tables or your desks here this evening with the changes highlighted in yellow.
I don't have the device change. I have two of the personnel policy.
You didn't get a device policy in
No.
your tree ring?
I got two of the revised personnel.
Okay.
And see, I didn't, I just got one of the electronic, but I didn't have one of the. I
You need
think
one
I
of
need
these?
that.
Yes. Can you press this down? Thank you.
I didn't have one. Thank you.
Well, I had an extra of each one. I couldn't figure it out.
Okay. So we have coverage of laptop and cell phone use at home. And knowingly was taken out.
Tessa, you want to address those?
In devices, I just wanted to make sure that it includes, right now, it sounds like it only includes when you're accessing it like through the town website or in the town facility. And I was just concerned about people using their laptops at home or using cell phones, because it looks like you have to actually be at town hall
It
site.
does mention within the document about actually accessing the network, period. So anytime we log on to it, if we're at a conference or if we're at home.
Right, so what I guess, so if you're using a laptop from home, do you always have to log in through that? Or can you use it for your own personal things, opening up emails and things like that without actually going through the town login? That's where my concern lies. So yeah, I wanted to have so that it includes laptop use at home and cell phone use at home. So basically just making it or town issued, I think would resolve that problem. Because if you say or town issued, then if it's a town issued cell phone or, oh, I don't have the changes, so I don't. Okay, or is town issued, good. And then, okay, knowingly is gone.
It's complicated, doesn't it?
It does get complicated.
We'll get you in trouble real quick.
And it's so important that we keep security, you know. when they're
So-
using these devices.
Does it say in here, I just don't see it highlighted, that devices and accounts cannot be accessed or used by anyone other than the authorized employee?
Number 16.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other corrections or?
My last question is in violations. So if anyone witnesses or is a victim to any violation of this policy, they should notify or file a complaint with their direct supervisor. Should that be the HR director or the town manager or their,
I followed the chain of command that's used in our other policies.
Okay.
So it's kind of your decision whether or not you want it changed to read that way.
Okay. I just don't want it to stop exactly and not follow up the chain on
Exactly.
something that could potentially be a huge liability.
I think the manager should know.
Okay,
That's my thing. Because it could easily stop,
Right.
Out of friendship.
right,
And it could be a department head. doing it.
Exactly
Right. you might have to
So I think
report,
that's,
reporting.
You got to
We'll
go to the
we'll put
manager.
that change in it then.
so you're gonna make
It's
that.
not, I mean, I would say let it be to you, because if a department head is doing, I mean, who's it gonna report it to?
Not that any of us think that this is going to.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that, but things happen.
Right.
Things happen.
Right.
So
So do I hear a motion that we pass this electronic devices and service policy
So moved.
with the changes? Any discussion, further discussion? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Those opposed, the motion carries.
Randy, how many additional computers did we buy for home use?
We got 5, I believe,
That's correct. That's correct.
for laptops for people to telework or work from home.
mhm.
Okay, I have yours. I put
How
it-
much did that cost? 5
I think
computers.
this
Do you
is.
remember
give
the
it-
cost
I'll give it to
Tessa, of
Randy.
those
He gave
5
me one. Thank you.
computers?
Like 8,000. I want to say about $8,000, but the plan with those computers, they're not going to be additional devices. We had some computers that we had to, that we put in the budget anyway for next year. Now we don't have to buy those. So we're going to recycle our older devices. For example, mine is the laptop I use. I'm going to use the laptop only. So my computer can be recycled.
It's going to the
Kinda.
fire chief. He just doesn't know it yet.
Okay, so what kind of fund did that come out of?
Non-departmental. I did not have to allocate any additional. Sorry.
Non-departmental,
It's called state of emergency expenses.
well, that was a new line item.
Well titled.
Non-departmental.
Let's go to 8D. This is the issue of social media policy again. The town of Nashville currently has 11 social media accounts. The town has no formal guidelines on how those accounts are used. The town of Nashville social media policy is designed to protect the town and its reputation. The policy is a defense for mitigating risk for the town and its employees. The policy clearly defines what is appropriate and what is not appropriate for employees to post in a professional capacity in regards to the town and town business, as well as on their own personal social media accounts. This policy defines the proper ways in which employees should engage with the public online while creating transparency and boosting awareness about the town. And so they would like for the council to approve the policy as written. And
There were some suggested changes from you guys on this policy too. And I put on the table another one with yellow highlights on it showing
yeah,
you.
that's what I saw just in.
This one I was actually suggesting, so the way it's written, where it says written proposal for a request for a new social media account must be done by written proposal approved by the town manager. So that puts, it makes it more of a confusing statement. And so someone could say, well, I never submitted a written proposal, so I didn't need to have all of these criteria met. I just created my own social media account. So what I wanted to do was just say creation of a new town social media account must be requested by written proposal and approved by the town manager. So just take out that whole written proposal for a request for an official. Okay, good.
Done. Any other corrections or input on the social media policy? If not, do I hear a motion that we approve this policy?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
All right.
Any opposed? The motion carries with that, correction. Our next item is 8E, Downtown Nashville Strong Advisory Board Member Application. And I just really have some, I was talking with Randy about this earlier. This, I have had so many concerns from businesses and property owners in this that were forced to be a part of it and not. And so they haven't bought into it. That's why we can't get businesses to be members on it. It's because they feel like they were put upon and that they weren't given an opportunity. In fact, one of them said it's sort of like what Rocky Mount was trying to, what do you call it? Annex everybody without their permission.
So you mean when this first came about 3 years ago,
Yeah,
whenever it was that we
but they're
created
still
it?
talking about it and they're angry about it. And I didn't realize it. And it's $35,000 that we get from them. And I'm just wondering, is it worth the anger that these people have? And they don't want to serve on it because they don't own it. They say we're going to pay it and they feel like that ones that I've talked with, 4 or 5 maybe at the most, have felt like, they have been sort of discriminated against because they didn't extend and take in others. So I don't know if we need to revisit this or what we need to do with this, but it's a lot of misunderstanding among the businesses and the business owners downtown.
I'm just wondering if Louise and Larry have any input. You both were here when this tax was
Yeah.
Right.
created.
This was, and Hank Raper and Brian were, they came up with the MSD to get additional revenue. And it was just downtown. It didn't encompass the Piggly Wiggly area or Walmart or any of that. And, so, and the one concern is that we had a hard time getting people to serve on the committee. And then, of course, there was the Christmas decoration debacle.
Before the Christmas decoration incident, when this was first being created, did we have any communication in meetings when the MSD was being talked about as far as any for or against having the businesses being taxed this extra amount for generation of income downtown?
I don't know that they had any
I don't
input
think
at
they,
all.
from what they've told me,
I don't recall it.
I don't think
It
they
was-
had any input whatsoever.
It was
And that's why they're not happy.
It was a revenue generating deal. And I think they thought that 30,000 or 35,000 or whatever it is morphed into could be used in the downtown area to spiff it up.
Right, beautification projects. things
Right,
like
there were
that.
all kinds of ideas that were presented,
Mhm.
but trying to get somebody to serve on the board was not easy. And meetings, you'd have meetings and no one would come. And
I've been at some.
and so there was just it was like no one bought into it. It was put upon them and they kind of took the attitude of, here, take my money, but leave me alone.
I sort of feel like, and just from talking with people, and this was when I was running as a candidate and going around, that 35,000 has cost us 100,000 in bad feelings, if you know what I mean. But I just don't know, because if we have a strong chamber and they could work together and do things for the town, we were discussing, was it Fuquay Arena, that are with someone, and we were talking about the chamber, all the things they do. But my heart, I understand where the business owners and the business, and for example, we've got some businesses that have not been open for a month and they are wondering if they will be able to maintain. And here we are singling them out to tax. I just don't know, but I wanted to bring it before the council for you to think about.
I'd love to maybe have like a specific community input session, where we can hear from these business owners, because I do know that there are some that are for this, that think that it's a great thing, that think that, we can do some wonderful things downtown, but I completely understand what you're saying about people feeling like they were just told what was going to happen and so haven't bought in. So I would love to hear from these businesses, good, bad, and different. And maybe we can revisit it. I think right now we should appoint the member to the board, and then maybe we can talk about where to go once we have some business input.
Well, maybe when this is over, we could schedule a meeting with those business people that are
Mhm.
involved. What do you think? And just get their honest input.
Right.
And then if they want to go on with it, fine. And it's the 4 or 5 that have been talking to me that they feel that way, then I think as a council, we need to do what's best for our business people in the town.
Mhm.
But that has nothing to do with what we're supposed to be doing tonight. But Lou Whitehead has submitted an application to serve on the Nashville Strong Advisory Board. And he's with the Nashville United Methodist Church. And his appointment will expire on June 30th, 2022. What is the council's recommendation or approval or support for Lou Whitehead serving on that committee?
I had a hard time reading his explanation for wanting to be on it. I couldn't read it.
As a father of 3 children, happily married, and one who lives, works, and sends my children to school in the local downtown community, I feel my voice can assist in a solid direction. Also, as an avid
It's hard to read.
Member,
traveler to other small towns, small town destinations, I've seen what's good and what's not.
Okay. That was wondering. But is that his signature down there? Luke Whitehead? It looks like.
David L. Whitehead.
Yes,
So that, okay.
you should see mine.
It looked like little Little. Is that
So,
what-
do I hear a motion that we approve Luke Whitehead to serve on the board of Nashville Strong
So maybe-
Advisory Board? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. It's approved for him to serve on that committee.
But you look at the number of the people that are on the committee, very few of them are property owners or.
Well, we had only property owners, but then we had people who were falling off or who were not coming to meetings. And so now, with the help of Hillary and Bruce, we are now making it more community where more people are involved, where only money is expended for the downtown, but now we can at least get quorum.
Yeah, we're having a hard time getting.
Our next item is 8F, and Samantha, this is the award bid for the independent audit services. Would you like to discuss that with us? I'll read the summary. It says an annual independent audit of the town's financial statements is required by General Accepted Accounting Principles, GAAP, and the Local Government Commission, LGC. The finance officer conducted a request for qualifications for independent auditing services. The RFQ process awards contracts based primarily on qualifications rather than cost. I am pleased to announce that the town received 4 well-qualified bids, which are attached for council's review. After a thorough review of all bids, I recommend awarding the contract to Petway, Mills, and Pearson, PA, from Zebulon, North Carolina. The firm was established in 2004, employs an experienced staff of 25, and has performed over 65 municipal audits. I believe that Petway, Mills, and Pearson, PA, can make a significant contribution to the town through their tailored approach to auditing. Any questions, council, for Samantha after reviewing these?
Is there cost 25,000?
Yes.
What was our last?
What are we doing? What are we paying the one we got now?
It was 36, I believe.
36? the
So
one we got
there-
now?
Current bid though was 30.
Yeah,
Right.
I believe they charged a little extra last year because of, there was no director, and so they had some extra work they had to
Okay.
do for us.
Okay.
Have you had any interaction with this?
I was able to, now everybody's on quarantine, so it was kind of difficult, but I was able to reach out and get a hold of, I kind of thoroughly vetted as best as I could, all of them, but I did get in touch with a couple of their clients who were very well pleased.
I know Tarboro is one of them.
Mhm.
one of the largest cities. There's some small ones too, but
They do a lot of towns. Seems like they do more towns than the others.
They do.
So they were generally in the same price range. We went from 25,000 to 32,000, it looks like. What stood out to you for this in particular, this one in particular?
The amount of experience, the years of experience, got a large staff. The fact that they have experience in municipal audits, and some of these others that had auditing experience, but not necessarily municipal.
Right.
They seem to have a very structured approach, which is what I'm looking for, especially in this first year. You know, I'm first year finance director. I want to get a lot of things cleaned up and get us in the right direction moving forward. So I want somebody who's going to really partner with us in this first year and build that capable. And I believe we will do that.
does the league have a list of recommended or approved?
Yeah,
And they're on the list?
yes.
And I can't find it right now, Sam, but they also, the time frame that they gave for having the audit finished, I like the fact that their proposal was to have it to us by about the second or third week in October, because it does have to be into the LGC by October 31st, which was one of the things that we were written up for by the.
Many times.
Yes, quite a few.
Do I hear a motion that we offer the bid for our audit services to Petway, Mills, and Pearson?
Second.
Second, are there any questions? Input, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, it carries. Now let's go to 8G. And I will just read this. Tressa Rudd, staff accountant as deputy tax collector. To ensure continuity of vital processes within the finance office, I am proposing to appoint Tressa Rudd as deputy tax collector. She will serve alongside Yvette Hinton, tax collector. Tressa has been employed with the town since 2017 and is skilled in many key finance roles. She has attended several courses through the University of North Carolina School of Government and is pursuing her associates in accounting at Wake Technical Community College. Through her skills and education, Tressa will continue to be an asset to the town as deputy tax collector. Any discussion?
Just change that staff recommendation to deputy tax collector.
Yeah.
Mhm. Is there a pay increase for this, or I think it stays the same?
Do I hear a motion that we accept the appointment of Tressa Rudd?
So made.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Okay. She is our deputy tax collector.
And I think it's wonderful that she's pursuing her degree.
I know, I like it when people continue going.
Sam, is there any way we can get an update on property tax payments?
Well, I did include a summary in the report there, but yes, I can get you a detailed
Okay.
list of that.
It would be interesting to see, because you know what you gave us about back years. I thought we had never seen that before, and I really appreciated that because it gave an indication as to who never pays.
Yeah.
You know,
8H, we'll move on to that new item. It's a resolution authorizing the town of Nashville to engage in electronic payments. Per the NC Administrative Code 20 NCAC 03.0409, any local government that engages in electronic payments must adopt a resolution authorizing the unit to do so. Electronic payments include transactions made by credit or purchase cards, fuel cards, ACH, automatic drafts, and online payments. The unit must also adopt a written policy that outlines electronic payment procedures and provide training to all personnel. The finance officer must also provide a quarterly budget to actual report to town council. The town is engaged in electronic payments for several years. Adoption of this resolution will bring the town into compliance with the NC Administrative Code. Details of the town's electronic payments policy can be found within the town's purchase policy. I am currently conducting a thorough review of the existing purchase policy and making revisions to ensure LGC and statutory compliance and to safeguard against potential fraud or misuse of town funds. A draft of the new purchase policy will be provided to town council for review and approval. So we're seeking the adoption of this to get approval to engage in electronic payments.
Sam, was this something that the LGC called us on?
No, I was aware of it. You have to have a resolution in place if you're gonna engage in.
You've got to be in compliance.
That's right.
Do I hear a motion that we approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second, all those in favor, any discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Approval, it is approved. Our next one is budget amendment number 26. Budget amendment number 26 reallocates funds for repairs to garbage truck and to begin the town ordinance recodification project. Now, that poor garbage truck, if we don't hurry up and get us a garbage truck, we're gonna have to spend all of our money.
Doesn't it take 6 months or so, even once we put the order in for the new garbage truck?
It does, and the guys are in the process of speccing a new garbage truck out. We should have that done next week. And then we can send it out to the 3 vendors that have been calling on us, wanting us to sell us a truck. And one of the things we're gonna do with that, the truck will be spec'd just like the one we have, where the guys have to get out of the truck, bring the cans up to it, and then it's got the lifts and it dumps it in. But we're gonna ask for an alternate that has the extendable arm that grabs the can from the curb and dumps it in, and the driver never has to leave the truck. Obviously, that'll be more money. And we've been told by the 3 truck the 3 truck sales companies that they're a little more expensive to maintain than what we have, but we'd only need one person on the route.
How about new trash cans?
Well, yes,
They included the
the
truck.
short trash cans we have, those would all have to be replaced with the large stand-up ones. And I forget the percent that Lee told me we still have out there. It's probably about 45% of the ones that are still the short ones. So we would have to, buy more than we have been buying every year in order to go with that.
How much money do we have set aside for garbage truck?
I'm going to put 60,000 in the budget for next year for trash cans. That's what get us.
No, for the garbage truck.
Truck.
184, isn't it?
183,000. And they're thinking this new trash can, new garbage truck might cost 360 to 380.
Is that the automatic truck?
No, that's the.
The replacement at 360. The one with the automatic arm is probably
$500,000.
under.
And can you imagine what could possibly go wrong with an automatic arm?
So my husband said when we bought the minivan. The doors open on their own, it's more to break.
That's right.
And one thing, I know in Minnesota, if you don't get that garbage can out just right, wave your trash can, they will not pick it up. Oh, that was my responsibility when I was out there.
Well, the videos we've seen, they've made a lot of advances in that technology. And even if your trash can is not square with the truck, so to speak, it'll still grab it and empty it as long as you have the lid pointing the right way.
Thank you for the information. Now let's look at the recodification project. I was looking at what's the bottom line of how much that's going to cost
Wasn't it about
us?
25,000?
What?
I remember Julie saying 25,000. That
Yes.
stuck in my mind because I thought, that's a lot of money.
But I think it was lower than what she had originally.
It's what?
15,000.
15,400.
15,400. Okay. So
I was
that's,
just wondering how much it was.
Maybe
where
that was
did I
it.
get 25,000?
That might have been the original, and we were happy to hear that it was lower.
Maybe that was it.
Well, we were going
They
to
told us
get,
more so we can have.
I get excited about 15,000.
we're going to get started in this fiscal year, and then we'll have some expense in next fiscal year.
And you said you had received some applications for planner.
Yes. The mayor's referring to Julie Sprague's, as you know, has given her resignation as the town's planning and economic development director. Her last day is going to be May 8th. And we have the advertisement out. It's been out for about a week and a half. We have 2 applications that I've seen thus far. I think Lou got a couple more, because, you know, they come via online now.
Well, I think it's exciting that we're getting some, and I just pray we get an outstanding, good person that will work with everybody and, you know, do good things for our town. That would be good. And I'm sorry Julie left us, but I hope she'll be happy wherever she goes.
Roseville, I think. And I'm sure she'll do great there.
Do I hear a motion that we approve this budget amendment number 26?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion, this is approved.
I just have a question. So we're taking 5,300 out of minimum housing. So
It's not being used.
We, after discussing it with Julie, we haven't had any applications for that. I mean, we spent $400, I believe.
we've got a lot of minimum housing in Nashville.
So,
Is there an application
Well, I'm
process that
wondering,
they
I'm
have to
wondering
go
if
through?
the citizens even know it's there.
right.
Well, I think that's what the $400 expense was to
They get-
advertise or announce that.
$600.
I didn't see it.
But are there criteria that they have to abide by in order to qualify? That might be part
There
of
is.
the
That
drawback.
could be, right, that's what I was gonna say. That could be the drawback.
Mhm.
Okay, town manager, it's time for your report.
Just a few things I wanted to remind you about the budget work sessions coming up. We have one scheduled for next Tuesday, May 12th. We'll begin at 9 a.m. here at the town hall, or the council chambers here. And we'll go till noon, recess for an hour, and then come back. We won't go any longer than 3 o'clock, though. And then we have a second one scheduled for May 19th. Again, 9 o'clock, recess for lunch, and then reconvene and go till 3.
Are the school teachers out of school?
I've already got that on the calendar. They'll
Okay,
have to get a substitute.
a substitute, yeah.
So, our second meeting this month will be May 27th, and we have 2 public hearings tentatively on the agenda. One is for the Woda Cooper Companies, the rezoning of property out on Eastern Avenue near the John Deere dealer, 4 acres, for the purpose of building an apartment building, 55-unit, 3-story apartment building. And the other one is a rezoning of about 20 acres, I believe, behind the food line by Four Seasons Contracting. They're proposing a new subdivision there. And then one other thing to report, Thursday, we will have the final walkthrough on the aviation lift station abandonment project with our engineer, Kevin Varnell from Stocks, and with John Rich from Weaver's Asphalting and Paving. So I got a call from the lady who lived in the apartment today, right next to that lift station, who was woken up at 3 a.m., 2 a.m., so many times by that alarm going off. She thanked us, and thanked us again for doing that project. She's had a whole month of sound sleep.
I wish I knew what that.
What did that project come in at? Was it 17 or 18?
Well, you know, we had a little extra because the soils weren't conducive to a straight up trench and they fell in. That took the curb and gutter off one side of aviation. It also allowed more asphalt on the road to fall in. So there were basically 2 additional, like 7,000 for additional curb and another 9,300, I believe, for additional asphalt. So I think it's right at 186.
Okay, so that was above and beyond the project.
Well, we budgeted 200,000 for that. The engineer's cost estimate was 190. So we're still under that. So the contractor had figured in his number, like 240 feet of 5-inch asphalt patch. Well, ended up in most cases having to go 10 feet and a little beyond and a few others. So it was double the amount of asphalt.
Well, it seems like we're eating the element a bite at a time, getting things like the lift stations
Yeah.
and things fixed.
But overall, I think the contractor did a bang up job with that project. I've reached out to a number of the property owners along there, and none of them had anything derogatory to say about him or his construction. He maintained access to the driveways at all time, neat and clean. They really appreciate us having a contractor that caliber do that project. It was tight quarters where they had to go.
The only problem was when they went in, the people in Davis Farm didn't know they were coming in and they didn't know what was happening. So in the future, we need to let
That's
people
right.
know, give them heads up because all this equipment came in and they thought, what's going on? I got a telephone
Yeah.
call.
And after you point that out to me, Louise, I'm like, of course, yes.
But on a cul-de-sac in Davis Farm with heavy equipment coming in, people are going, really?
Is this urban renewal?
Taking my house
Yeah.
away. I miss seeing you during this time. And it's a time we never thought we'd live through or see, but I still believe good things are going to happen to our precious town of Nashville and our citizens. And we just have got to look forward at our budget and make sure we do the best budget we can, with our funding. But Nashville is going to be fine. We just have to work together as a team, and I appreciate all of you doing that and getting us through this. I would like a motion for us to go into closed session pursuing NCSG 143-318.11 A5 concerning real estate. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
All right.
We'll proceed to closed session.
Are we going to stay in here or going?
We're gonna stay here, but I gotta put a lot of stuff on.
Council comments at the end, or?
I guess we'll have that when we come back in. I don't know.
Do we need to remind him to have some little munchies
Did you leave a coffee mug in that car?
in your car? No, I haven't been in your car with a coffee mug.
One day I took you around the block to
Yeah.
show you, when we were
Yeah.
trying to mark up this point. And it's a coffee mug and I thought,
I don't believe I did. Did we?
it's looks stainless steel. Go ahead.
Okay, you're out.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, guys, thanks again. We really appreciate. We have